In the early 1990s, thousands of Australians woke each morning wondering if they still had a job. Businesses closed their doors. Homeowners watched interest rates soar. Families cut spending to the bare essentials. Yet one of Australia's most famous political leaders would later describe this economic disaster with a phrase that still sparks debate today: the recession we had to have. But did Australia really have to endure one of its worst economic downturns in decades? To answer that question, we need to return to the Australia of the 1980s. The story stretches across Australia's suburbs, city skylines, and factory towns. It was a period of rapid change. Prime Minister Bob Hawke and Treasurer Paul Keating were transforming the economy. The Australian dollar was floated in December 1983. Financial markets were deregulated. Foreign investment surged. At first, the changes seemed like a miracle. Banks competed aggressively for customers. Credit flowed freely. Developers launched ambitious projects. Office towers climbed into the skies of Sydney and Melbourne. New fortunes appeared almost overnight. But beneath the excitement, warning signs were growing. By the late 1980s, inflation was rising rapidly. Businesses borrowed heavily. Property prices exploded. Consumers spent with confidence, convinced the boom would never end. Paul Keating feared the economy was overheating. In an attempt to slow things down, interest rates were pushed dramatically higher. By 1989, standard mortgage rates climbed above 17%. For many families, monthly repayments became crushing. Across the country, kitchen tables became places of anxiety. Parents studded bills late into the night. Small business owners worried about meeting payroll. Yet the worst was still ahead. Then came the collapse. In 1990, economic growth stalled. Businesses began failing. Construction projects stopped. Commercial property values plunged. Major companies that had symbolized the boom suddenly found themselves drowning in debt. On the 29th of November, 1990, Paul Keating delivered a blunt assessment during an interview. This is the recession that Australia had to have. The phrase would become one of the most famous and controversial statements in Australian political history. As unemployment surged above 10%, the human cost became impossible to ignore. More than 1 million Australians found themselves out of work. Factory gates closed. Auction signs appeared on family homes. Long queues formed outside employment offices. In industrial suburbs, the sound of machinery faded. In country towns, local businesses struggled to survive. Across Australia, uncertainty hung in the air. Yet amid the hardship, something unusual was happening. The recession forced businesses to become more efficient. Inflation was finally brought under control. Uncompetitive industries were restructured. The economy slowly adapted to a more globalized world. By 1992, recovery had begun. As employment slowly returned, Australia emerged with a fundamentally different economy. Few people celebrating the recovery could have imagined what came next. For nearly 3 decades, Australia avoided another recession. The country weathered the Asian financial crisis, the dot-com crash, and even the global financial crisis of 2008 without experiencing 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Many economists later argued that some of the painful reforms and lessons of the early 1990s helped make that resilience possible. Today, the glass towers that rose during the boom still stand across Australia's major cities. Behind them lies a reminder of how quickly prosperity can disappear. The recession Australia had to have remains one of the nation's most debated chapters. Some see it as necessary medicine. Others see it as an avoidable disaster. Perhaps both views contain some truth, because the story is not really about economics. It is about people. It is about the families who endured uncertainty so that future generations might inherit a stronger economy. And it reminds us that sometimes the most important moments in a nation's history are not victories, but the hardships that reshape its future. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more forgotten, unusual, and fascinating chapters of Australian history, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. New videos are released regularly, exploring the places, people, and events that help shape Australia, often hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.